Have you ever felt like something isn't right in a conversation, but you can't explain why? Like you're being pushed to do things you don't really want to do? What if I told you that you might be getting manipulated without even realizing it? And worse, what if you've been falling for the same tricks over and over again? Most men don't notice when they are being controlled, and by the time they figure it out, it's too late. But today, you're going to learn exactly how to stop this from happening. In this video, I'll share 7 powerful methods to make sure no woman can ever manipulate you again. And listen, this is not one of those boring generic videos that tell you to just be confident or know your worth. No, you'll learn real, practical ways to take back control. But here's the thing. Manipulative people don't want you to know these secrets. They count on you staying unaware. That's why I need you to do one thing. Don't skip. Watch till the end, or you'll miss the one method that could change everything for you. The first step to stopping manipulation is simple. You have to recognize it before it's too late. The problem is that manipulation doesn't always look obvious. It's not someone directly telling you what to do. Instead, it's sneaky. It plays with your emotions. You might think you're making your own choices, but in reality, you're being pushed in a certain direction without even noticing it. Think about this. Have you ever been guilt-tripped into doing something? Maybe she says, if you really cared about me, you would do this for me. Or maybe she gives you the silent treatment, making you feel like you did something wrong, even when you didn't. That's manipulation. And then there's gaslighting, where she twists reality, making you question your own memory. You call out something she did, and suddenly she flips it on you, saying, I never said that, you're just overreacting. The key is to spot these tricks early. The moment you notice someone using guilt, silence, or confusion to control you, that's your first warning sign. Because once you see it for what it is, it loses its power over you. But just recognizing manipulation isn't enough. You need to know how to fight back. And that starts with learning to set clear boundaries. One of the biggest reasons people get manipulated is because they don't know how to say no. When someone keeps pushing your limits and you just let it happen, you're telling them one thing: I don't respect my own boundaries. And guess what? If you don't respect them, neither will they. Let's be real. Many men struggle with this. You might agree to things just to keep the peace. Maybe you go along with something even when you don't want to, just to avoid drama. But here's the truth. A person who truly respects you will respect your boundaries. A manipulator will test them. The solution: be firm and direct. If you don't want to do something, say no without over-explaining. You don't need to justify yourself or feel guilty. A simple, I'm not comfortable with that, or that doesn't work for me is enough. And don't be afraid of their reaction. If someone gets mad because you set a boundary, that just proves they were trying to control you in the first place. The moment you stop bending to every demand, you become stronger. And that's what manipulators hate the most: a man they can't control. But setting boundaries is just one part of the equation. If you really want to be untouchable, you need to stop seeking validation from others. One of the biggest mistakes men make, without even realizing it, is constantly looking for approval. You want to be liked. You want to be seen as a good guy. And that's exactly why manipulators take advantage of you. Because when you need someone's validation, you give them power over you. Think about this. Have you ever found yourself doing things just to please her? Maybe you agree with her opinion even when you don't really believe it. Maybe you change your behavior just to avoid upsetting her, or maybe you feel the need to prove yourself to gain her approval. This is where manipulation thrives. A woman who knows you crave validation can easily use it against you. She can reward you with attention when you do what she wants and take it away when you don't. It's a simple trick, yet incredibly powerful. The way to stop this is simple. Be okay with not being liked all the time. Stop bending over backward just to make someone happy, especially when it costs you your own self-respect. You don't need to be rude, but you also don't need to prove anything to anyone. If someone only gives you respect when you obey them, that's not real respect. That's control. And the sooner you break free from that mindset, the harder it will be for anyone to manipulate you. Let's be honest, when someone knows how to push your buttons, they have control over you. Manipulators don't argue with facts, they argue with emotions. They use anger, guilt, and fear to make you react instead of think, and the moment you react emotionally, you lose control of the situation. For example, have you ever had a conversation turn into a huge argument for no reason? You try to explain yourself, but instead she twists your words and makes you feel like you're in the wrong. Before you know it, you're frustrated, raising your voice, and now you look like the problem. That's exactly what she wanted. Or maybe she plays the victim, making you feel guilty even when you did nothing wrong. And suddenly, instead of standing your ground, you're apologizing just to end the conflict. This is why emotional control is everything. The less reactive you are, the less power she has over you. When you feel yourself getting upset, pause, take a breath. Instead of reacting, respond calmly and logically. Nothing frustrates a manipulator more than someone who doesn't fall for their tricks. When they realize they can't control your emotions, they lose their grip on you. One of the biggest manipulation tactics people use is saying one thing and doing another. They make big promises. They act like they've changed. They tell you exactly what you want to hear, but when it's time to prove it, their actions say something completely different. The truth is, words are cheap. Anyone can say they care about you. Anyone can promise they'll change. Anyone can apologize and act sorry when they get caught. But real intention is shown through actions, not words. And this is where most men get trapped. They believe the words instead of looking at what's actually happening. Think about it. Has a woman ever promised you, "I won't do that again, I've learned my lesson," but then she did the exact same thing a few weeks later? Or maybe she acted nice after treating you badly, just long enough to make sure you didn't leave. That's not a real change. That's manipulation. Stop listening, start observing. Don't argue, don't demand change, don't waste time explaining what's wrong, just watch. If someone's actions don't match their words, believe the actions. When people see that you won't fall for empty words, they will either step up or leave. Either way, you win. Not every situation can be fixed. Not every relationship is worth saving. And sometimes, the smartest, strongest thing you can do is walk away. But here's the problem. Most men don't do this. They stay in toxic situations for far too long, hoping things will change, ignoring all the red flags and making excuses for bad behavior. Let's be real. Have you ever told yourself, "She'll change if I just give it more time"? Or maybe you thought, "She's not always like this. She can be really sweet sometimes." That's exactly how manipulation works. It gives you just enough hope to keep you stuck. Here's what you need to understand. A person who constantly disrespects you will not change just because you want them to. And if you keep tolerating the same behavior, they will keep treating you the same way. Why? Because they know you won't leave. So set a hard limit. Decide what you will and won't accept. And if someone crosses that line repeatedly, walk away. No warning, no debate, no second chances, just go. Because when you finally remove yourself from a manipulative situation, you gain something far more valuable, your peace, your power, and your self-respect. The real reason manipulation works is because the person being manipulated needs something from the manipulator. Whether it's love, approval, attention, or even financial support, if someone can hold something over you, they can control you. That's why the ultimate way to stop manipulation is to become so self-sufficient that no one has power over you. Think about it. When you're mentally, emotionally, and financially strong, no one can use fear, guilt, or emotional games to control you. You don't need anyone's approval because you validate yourself. You don't stay in toxic situations because you're comfortable being alone. You don't let people play with your emotions because you know your worth. This is true independence. And the best part? Once you have it, manipulators won't even try to control you anymore because they'll know they can't. So how do you build this inner strength? First, you focus on yourself, your goals, your growth, your success. You build a life that makes you proud, with or without anyone else. Second, you learn to be comfortable alone. A man who fears being alone is easy to manipulate, but a man who enjoys his own company is untouchable. And finally, you commit to never lowering your standards just to keep someone around. Because the moment you refuse to accept less, the right people will respect you and the wrong ones will walk away. Either way, you win. There's no magic trick to stop manipulation overnight. It's a process. You have to train yourself to notice the signs, stand firm in your decisions, and most importantly, put yourself first. The more you practice these methods, the more natural they'll become. And soon you'll realize that manipulation doesn't affect you anymore, not because people stopped trying, but because you stopped allowing it. So now the choice is yours. You can forget everything you just heard and keep falling for the same tricks, or you can start applying these lessons today and take back your power. The question is, which one will you choose? So now that you know exactly how to stop being manipulated, the real question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to ignore it and keep falling into the same traps? Or are you finally going to take control of your life and make sure no one, and I mean no one, ever plays with your mind again? Because here's the truth. You now have no excuse to be manipulated. You know the signs, you know the tactics, and most importantly, you know how to shut them down before they even start. But here's where most people mess up. They hear valuable advice. They agree with it, but they don't actually use it. Don't be that guy. Start applying these methods today, whether it's setting a boundary, refusing to react emotionally, or walking away from a toxic situation. Take action, because the sooner you do, the sooner you'll realize something powerful. No one can manipulate a man who stands firm in his decisions. If this video helped you, make sure to hit that like button so more people can see it. And I want to hear from you. Have you ever been manipulated before? What was the moment you realized it? Drop your story in the comments, because trust me, someone else watching this right now might need to hear it. And if you want more content like this, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Stay strong, stay aware, and remember, the moment you stop allowing manipulation, you become unstoppable. I'll see you in the next one.